Uh-oh, got a FedEx delivery.
Lithium. Nice.
All right, well, let's get this inside and unbox it. Boom! Almost hit me in the face. Boom. All right, so, oh, let's stay there. First thing is the charger, and it is wrapped in bubble wrap. Charger right here, it's got a little carrying handle right up on top. It's got your charging wire sticking out this side. It looks like a 5-pin plug. On the top, it has your model number, your input, it's got your output. Look at that, 42 volts. 15 amps. Of course, it also comes with your AC wire. It also came with a little manual for the charger. All right, inside the little tiny case that my wife will probably try to steal, it also has a little carrying handle. We got a couple of cables right here. We have your standard 12-volt outlet car charger for vehicle charging. The other side is the 5521 barrel plug. And then we also get two MC4 connections, again with their plug on the other side. So 2 MPPT chargers inside this unit. All right, and then in here, it looks like we have basically a dust cover. All right, a dust cover that goes over the power station. I'll show you this in a minute whenever we got more room. And that's pretty much it, other than some more little manuals for the power station. Ugh. If I can get the foam out. All right, so packaging is excellent, by the way. If I can get it out. Okay, all righty, so let me have it. Pull this guy out. What's up everybody, Average Joe here, and in today's video we have another portable power station that we're going to be taking a look at. This one is the Pecron E2000 LFP. So without wasting too much of your time, I'm going to try to make this video as short and sweet as I possibly can, which again still might be a really long video. So if at any time you don't want to hear me talk or see my beautiful face and you want to see more information about this, I'm obviously going to have links down below so you guys can click on those, check it out if you want to at any time. All right, anyway, let's get into it. So first thing we're going to do is take a closer look, go over all the features, specifications, and then we're going to get right into the testing. All right, so let's get to it. All right, what we have here is the Pecron E2000 LFP. It has a 1,920 watt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery. This has a 2,000 watt pure sine wave output inverter, and it can surge up to 4,000 watts. All right, next I guess we'll just do a quick little once over, and then we'll get right to the testing. All right, we'll start right over here on the upper left-hand side. So this is your DC charging area. The top port is a 5521 barrel style plug, and it has a voltage range of 12 to 18 volts, and you can charge up to 100 watts. Right below that are two aviation style plugs. These are actually two separate MPPT charge controllers, all right? Voltage range on these are 32 volts to 95 volts up to 600 watts. So combined is 1200 watts. You can actually combine all three of these for up to 1300 watts. And another little tidbit of information, since these are two separate charge controllers, you could be charging with a brick charger, you know, AC charging on this side, and then you could be charging with solar on this one at the exact same time. And another little tidbit is you could do 40 volts of solar on this one, and let's say 80 volts on that one. It's going to be just fine, okay? And then way over here on the right-hand side, this is your DC output area. Of course, it's got your standard car cigarette lighter port, and it's also got two 5521 ports right here, one right there, one right there. Again, 12 volts, and they can output about 10 amps. Right below that are your USB, and you have 4 USB-A. The bottom three are your standard 5 volt 2.4 amps, and then you also get an 18 watt port right there. And then you also have two USB-C ports right here. One is 18 watts and the other is 100 watts. Right here in the center is your AC output, and you get 6 120 volt 20 amp outlets. Again, 2,000 watts, that can surge up to 4,000 watts. And then finally in the center is your display with a DC and AC on and off switch. All right, if you just kind of hit those once, nothing's gonna happen. You actually have to hold it down for 3 seconds to turn it on. Boom, and it's on. All right, so what we see here is basically a battery with a percentage right below it. So we're at 66% state of charge. We're gonna have to charge it up before we actually use it. And then right over here is your battery hours remaining. So of course, us not doing anything, it says we have 422 hours. All right, and then if you hit the DC button one more time, it'll show you the battery voltage. We're at 26.2 volts. All right, hit that one more time, and then we'll turn on the AC. Couple beeps. I heard the fan turn on for about a second and it turned back off. All right, so what we have on the screen now, it's got a little sine wave with the AC output. Our time has changed since we turned the inverter on. It's now 70.3 hours, and that's pretty much it. If we hit the AC button, it's going to show the power factor and the voltage of the outputs. If we hit it one more time, it's going to show us how many hertz, you know, we're doing on the outlets. That's pretty much it. All right, so again, turn those off, 3 seconds, and there you go. That's the front. If we turn it to this side, there is pretty much nothing except for your air intake. If we go to the back side, there's really nothing other than the information of this portable power station. If we go to this side, this is the side I'm interested in. Not because the 2 exhaust fans or because it looks badass or anything like that. It has a battery expansion port right here. So you can actually plug in 2 more batteries, of course, with their plug and their batteries. I want to say it's like E3000B or something like that. I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. So there you go. You could plug in 2 more batteries and have a combined capacity of 8,000 watt hours or 8 kilowatt hour. I think that is pretty badass. And why can't I get this plug back on? There we go. And then you also have 2 fuses right there. And then finally on top, which I'm a huge fan of, is wireless charging because I'm lazy. I just want to set my phone on there and go about my business. Of course, to turn this on, you do have to hit the DC switch right there. Oh, and of course you also get 2 little handles on top to carry it. And if I didn't mention this yet, this thing weighs 48.5 pounds. It's not real heavy, but just heavy enough. All right, there you go. Quick specifications, overview, etc. Let's get into the testing. All right, first thing we're gonna do is charge it up. Plug you in here, plug you in here. And this can only go in one way. All right, plugging it into the wall. Right, meow. All right, I heard the charger click. Lights turn on, and our charging watts are starting to go up. All right, looks like we leveled off at 542 watts, and it looks like we have 1.1 hours to go, at least from this 67% mark. Uh-oh, no way. All right, look at that. We're reading 27.2 volts out of this battery expansion port. You know what that means? We could technically add another battery to this, one of our own batteries to this, and we could get an extended runtime. Of course, we would have to find some banana plugs or something to fit in those, which I may or may not have. And if I can find some, we're definitely gonna test that out. Of course, I don't think it'll report accurate state of charge on the screen, but I'm willing to find out. All right, first test we're gonna do is a capacity test, and we're gonna do a 0.2C capacity test since that's pretty much the industry standard. So a 0.2C capacity test on here is roughly 384 watts. And I've got an array of light bulbs over here. We're gonna be testing through the AC side or the inverter side. So obviously I've got a kilowatt hour meter right here, which will give us our result. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and power on the unit. All right, if we take a look on here, we're actually drawing 397 watts, which is just a tad over a 0.2C discharge rate, but that's okay. We're gonna leave it. If we look on the screen right here, it's showing 409 watts, and we have roughly 4 hours runtime. I mean, for real. I've been sitting here for 32 minutes. How much longer? I thought I was gonna end at 4 hours. Boom, there we go. All right, so this thing ran for 4 hours and 31 minutes, and we got 1,798 watt hours. And if we do the quick calculation on that, if we take 1,798 that we got from the 1,920, we times that by 100, that gave us an efficiency rating of 93.64%. 93%, that is the highest efficiency rating that I've gotten out of any of these power stations that I've tested. 93.6%, amazing. All right, plugging her in right here, plugged in, boom. All right, so from 1%, it'll take roughly 4 hours to recharge it. All right, we are full charge, and the next test we're gonna do is we're gonna see if we can max out the inverter, the 2,000 watt inverter, and see how long it can run. Will it run the entire time, or will it shut off, overheat, explode? We're gonna find out. So I've got 2 space heaters right here. We're gonna try to run it at 2,000 watts and see what happens. Turn the AC on, heater number 1. Turn this one on low. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but it's 1,268 watts. Plug in the second heater, turn him on low. All right, if we take a close up on the screen, we're pulling 2,000 watts, 97% state of charge, and we've got 0.8 of an hour run time. Let me cycle through here. We're at 118 volts, 60 hertz. All right, so as soon as I put the camera on time lapse, it looks like we hit an overload, so you cannot run it at the full 2,000 watts for more than, it was probably only like a total of 5 minutes. All right, so there you go. We drained it down to 92%. So in order to restart that, you got to turn off the heaters, hold down the AC button, shut it off basically, and then restart it. All right, next thing I'm gonna do real quick is attempt to try the surge capability. So we're gonna see if it'll surge up to 4,000 watts. All right, 10-inch sliding compound miter saw right here. Specs on this, 120 volts, 15 amps. The air compressor I'm gonna set right back here, 115 volts, 14 amps. All right, this is pretty much what I test out in all my other videos. And of course, I'm not gonna be cutting any wood or anything like that because we're inside of my house. All right, first test we're gonna do is the 10-inch sliding compound miter saw. All right, here we go. All right, we did get an overload, and it kind of wanted to do it, but it kind of didn't. So I'm gonna try it again. Okay, so 10-inch sliding compound miter saw is out. Okay, next is the air compressor. Okay, powers the air compressor, no problem. All right, there you go. If you wanted to bring this to a job site to power your saws, at least for my 10-inch sliding compound miter saw, it won't do it. However, it will power the air compressor, which is 14 amp, 2 horsepower or 2.5 horsepower peak. All right, I guess the next thing we'll do is, well, we can see if it'll power my phone. How about that? See if it'll charge it. There it goes. All right, there you go. It does power my phone just fine. All right, next thing I think I'll do is I'll recharge it back up, and then I'm gonna do one more capacity test. However, I'll do it from the DC side, just to see if we get a little bit better efficiency rating, okay? All right, and while this was charging, I was thinking maybe we could test out, you know, dual charging. So I'm gonna plug in this little power supply right here and cobble together something that I can go into one of these other DC ports right here. All right, so we're at 18 volts, 7 amps there on the output, and we're going over here to the cigarette lighter port, and then going into the 5521 barrel port right there on top, and we can do 100 watts max. And look at that, we're charging at 652 watts now. All right, and I'll lower the voltage. You can see it go down. Let's lower it way down. All right, we're at 613, and let me just turn it off, and it drops back down to 544. Turn it back on. We'll bring it up to 18 volts again. So there you go. We can do dual charging right now. If I could figure out something to cobble together for this other port, I will try that. So give me just a couple minutes. I'll see what I can come up with for that. All right, so we got a 48 volt DC charger right here. going to an XT60. That goes over to this XT60 right here, and this is a buck boost converter. I don't really need this. The only reason I'm using this is because I didn't want to put an XT60 on these right here, because the other side's got the MC4 cables right here, which is going to plug into the MC4 adapter that they supplied. All right, so let me get all this plugged in, and we'll see if we can do, we'll see if we can get close to maxing this out with all of this crap right here. All right, our MC4 adapter right here, which is gonna get plugged into this buck boost converter right over here, as long as it doesn't fall off. Positive and negative. I at least want to make sure this will work. So we'll plug it in, see if it blows up. It does not blow up, and we are charging. Okay, we're at 485. Okay, now we're gonna plug in the charger that it came with, 1035-ish. Now, let's plug in this wire right here. Turn on the charger. Alrighty, there you go. We are charging at 1,144 watts. All right. Over here on the power supply, we're doing 18 volts, a little over 7 amps. We're also plugged in with this charger that came with it, and then my cobbled together solar panel array that looks like a power supply. I would say that's doing pretty darn good. I wish I could squeeze a little bit more in there, but I don't have anything else I could shove in there at this current moment. All right, so far I would say this is doing really good. I wish I had just a little bit more I could squeeze into the charging, but I don't have anything else I could squeeze in there. All right, so what we're gonna do next is I'm just gonna let it recharge, and then we're gonna do one more capacity test, and we're gonna do it on the DC side. All right, next test we're gonna do is one more capacity test, and we're gonna be going out of the DC side this time. Hopefully we can get just a little bit higher of efficiency. If not, that's okay. And we're gonna be using one of these fan testers right here. All right, so this one's basically going to be ran at 12 volts, and we can go up to 10 amps on here, so that's what we're going to put on here. All right, let me plug the tester in. Might hear some beeping. Plug it in the power station. All right, so right on here, which you probably can't see, it shows 13.6 volts. Whoop, now I'm in Chinese. How did I get to Chinese? There it goes. And we'll let the test begin. Slowly turn up the dial, and I'm going to go right up to 10 amps. Actually, I'm going to see if I can go up to 150 watts. Oop, I messed it up. I went over. All right, so on the tester here, you can see it's at 12.9 volts, and we're drawing 10 amps or 130 watts. And if we look up here on the display, it's showing we're drawing 142 watts, and we have a runtime of roughly 13.5 hours. And whenever that's done, I'll be right back. All right, capacity test is done from the fan tester, and we got 1,808.5 watt hours from the 1,920. So if we divide those two and then times it by 100, we got 94.12 efficiency rating. Not bad. All right, I wanted to revisit the full run max load capacity test, or at least real close to it. So I'm going to try an 1,800 watt load, and we'll see what happens. Alrighty, I just missed it. All right, let me plug this into a regular outlet, and we can get the information off of here. All right, so it ran for 54 minutes and 1 second. And we got 1.609 kilowatt hours out of it. So that's not too bad at an 1,800 watt load. I just want to see if these actually fit. Oh my gosh, they do. All right, you guys are big boys and girls. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do, but boom, test cables complete. So we have our banana plugs on this side. We're going through some 10 gauge wire, going through a 100 amp fuse right here, and then we have some ring terminals on the other end. Make sure the voltages are pretty close. 25.76, 26.33. So we're really close. I think we're close enough. So I got to remember the right is red. RR. And turn this a little bit. I gotta pause real quick. These banana plugs that I'm using, since the ends out here are so big, I think they're gonna touch over there. So let me see what else I got real quick, and then I'll be right back. All right, I found some from the fan tester. I'm just gonna use these. Now the gauge is probably like 16, so we're not gonna be doing a lot of power or anything like that. Okay, positive? Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right, a couple taps. Okay, nothing happened. It actually says there's 4 amps going through there. Can you see that? So we have 4 amps being transferred right now. Hopefully that's not too much for these little tiny baby wires. Our voltage is going down slightly over here, so we're at 26.2, we're at 26.3, so it is moving a little bit. I want to plug in the charger real quick, and we'll see what that does. See if it blows up. And we'll see if that changes too. Yeah, it's changing. This could be a potential right here. Alrighty, charging at 537 watts, and we are transferring, it looks like 8.85 amps going into the SOK battery right here. So keep in mind, this is a 100 amp hour battery. You know, charging it like this is probably going to take quite a bit of time, and definitely you would want to add some bigger wires than these little tiny things that I got here. So yeah, there we go. Alrighty, what do you think of the battery expansion port now? I'm liking it. You could technically expand to as much battery capacity as you want, I think, because there's no communication, you know, right now how this is sitting right here. I'm actually really surprised you could do this, and hopefully they don't lock that port down, you know, in the future. So if any of you guys do end up getting this unit right here and use your own battery, hopefully you can still do it at that time. Okay, I think we're gonna start wrapping up this video because it could literally turn into another video since we just opened up a whole nother can of worms with this battery expansion port idea. So if you have this or get it in the future and you make your own expansion battery, you plug something in and you blow it up and void your warranty, you can't blame me. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. Anyway, we're gonna go over the pros and cons real quick, and I think we'll start with the cons first, and I think I can only think of 2 at the moment. And the first one is gonna be the 4,000 watt surge capability. I don't think I can technically, you know, accurately test 4,000 watts worth of surge capability, but the only thing that I can go from is my saw, and it won't do my saw. However, it will do my air compressor. There's a 1 amp difference in there, but the surge is different. So it might actually do the 4,000 watt surge. I just can't accurately test it, so I'm gonna put that in the cons list. The second one is, it's dumb. It's really, really dumb. And it's only gonna be for me and videoing purposes because it's the display. It goes dim too quickly when you're trying to record. It's too hard for me to reach over and push the little button for it to get brighter. That's pretty much it. It's not really a con, honestly. And I think that's pretty much it. It's just the 2 that I can think of, so we'll move on to the pros. And the pros are everything. I love everything about this portable power station. I mean, for one, in my opinion, it looks badass. I mean, look at it. Would you just look at it?
I mean, just get a look at that.
It's actually my EDC, or my everyday carry, if you want to call it a carry, is the one that I leave in my truck now. I had the EcoFlow River 2 Pro or something like that. It's a little tiny one. I had that one in there for a little bit, and then once I got this one, I swapped it out because I love this one. Anyway, the pros. This one is pretty small and compact. It doesn't weigh very much. I think it was right around 40 pounds. Like I said, it looks badass. It's got wireless charging on the top. I'm not sure why every single portable power station out there doesn't have that option. I mean, every single one of them out there has got pretty much a flat surface right on the top. Why would you not put wireless charging right on the top. I don't know. The efficiency rating on this is way better than all the other portable power stations that I've checked, and we did 3 different tests on this one. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. So the first one was at the 0.2 C rate, or real close to it, and we got a 93.64% efficiency. That is awesome. The next one was out of the DC side, and we got a little bit better. We got to 94.12%, and then the third one was kind of like a dual purpose test. It was a capacity test and to see if we could run it at 2,000 watts, which we were a little below. We ran at 1,800 watts, but it was close enough. And we got 83.8%. And the last one is gonna be all of your DC charging, and you do get quite a bit of a voltage range on that. So that is pretty good for a small power station like this. And that was 32 to 95 volts and 600 watts per MPPT input, and then of course you also get that other 100 watt one there. That's pretty good compared to a lot of the other ones that I've seen. Most of the bigger ones out there, of course, might go up to 150 volts, but oh, that actually brings up another thing to consider. That might be a con actually for some people. For this, if you want to recharge it from the wall, you need the brick charger right here. I know a lot of people complain about stuff like that. You know, it is easier just to plug in your AC wire and plug it into the wall. For me personally, it's not really a con, but for you, that could be a con. And then now that I'm thinking about it, the other con, which I don't have here since I don't have a real expandable battery, is the cable that's gonna go from the expansion battery to the portable power station. It is gonna stick out, you know, away from the unit. I don't know how flexible they are or anything like that because I don't have one. Stuff like that I typically forget because I usually don't have an expansion battery. So that would be an extra con because it's going to take up more space, you know, wherever you end up using your portable power station. And maybe it won't take up more space. Maybe you're using it outside. I don't know. Alrighty, there you go. There's my pro cons list. And like I said earlier, I absolutely love this portable power station. It's got so many good things going for it. That's right, you heard it. This is my favorite portable power station. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, definitely put those down in the comment section. If you have any pros or cons that you want to add to that list, definitely put those down there as well. If anybody is interested in the Pecron E2000 LFP, it is on sale right now for $900, which I think is a steal. And that's through my links down below. I'm pretty sure I have a discount code as well, and if I do, I'll just flash that up on the screen. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you put those down in the comment section. Don't forget to like that smash button on your way out, and I'll see you on the next portable power. There goes a gnat. Cat butt.